Good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Simone Krouwer, and I'm conducting research on native advertising in online news media at the University of Antwerp. And as introduced, I would like to present my latest study, which is focused on both brand presence and disclosure recognition in these native advertisements. But first, to start off, just a quick introduction on what native advertising is and why it is such a rising phenomenon, also in the news media. Here you see some statistics from last year's digital news report, and these are UK statistics, but they are kind of in line with the rest of Europe. And as you can see, most of the news readers still don't pay anything for online news. In the UK, it's even 93%, so it's very high. And on top of that, many news readers are also becoming more and more effective in avoiding the traditional advertisements, especially the younger generation. And there's an increasing amount of website visitors who are installing these ad blockers. So they're completely blocking these traditional ads. So in order to reach these ad-avoiding, not paying news readers, both the advertisers and the news websites are trying to reach them via these native advertisements. And in this case, I'm talking about advertisements that are designed in the look and feel of a real news article. And because this can be a bit deceptive, as some news readers might not recognize them as actual advertisements, there are several laws stating that all native ads should have a disclosure. So that's something like sponsored content, advertisement. There are many wordings for that. And until now, most academic research has been focused on these disclosures. And it has been found that when the disclosures are seen and processed, they can indeed increase ad recognition, which is also called conceptual persuasion knowledge. And in some cases, this also led to increased critical processing, which is also called attitudinal persuasion knowledge. And it led to more negative evaluations of the ad and the advertising. However, this was not always the case. So ad recognition did not always lead to more negative evaluations of the ad. And furthermore, disclosure recognition is on average very low. As you can see, less than 25%. So there should be other factors that, of course, influence readers' evaluations of these native ads as well. And in a recent case study conducted by Carlson, he also suggested that we should focus more on the content of native ads. As in this case, this was about very negative reactions of readers towards a native ad. This was not because of the lack of disclosure or because of the disclosure, but really because of the content and how it was written. So we proposed that one factor that might have an influence on readers' evaluations is brand presence in the text. And we think that because the editorial format of native advertisements, of course, implies that they can also have some kind of value for the readers and can have some kind of information. And several studies using the information utility theory, they showed that when an ad is useful to the readers as well, they can still respond positively to it, even when they recognize it as advertising. So this maybe means that when the content is quite neutral and offers interesting information to the reader, it's of course beneficial to them as well, so they still respond positively to it. Whereas when the text is mainly about the advertiser, so when brand presence is high, they might respond more negatively to it, as the advertisement mainly benefits the advertiser, not the reader. So based on this framework, we wanted to test the following. First, we wanted to replicate recent eye-tracking research, which surprisingly showed that readers are more likely to see a disclosure when it's positioned in the middle of a news article, which is currently not the case. It's most of the time sponsored content is above the headline and not in the middle of the text. So that was just something additionally that we wanted to replicate. And next, we expected that both disclosure recognition and high brand presence would have would increase readers' conceptual persuasion knowledge, so ad recognition, and also the skeptical processing, which is attitudinal persuasion knowledge. And that especially this critical processing would lead to more negative evaluations of the ad, the advertiser, and the news website. And we also expected an interaction effect in that when brand presence was high, that disclosure recognition would have even a more negative effect. So to test it, we conducted a 3x2 experiment on a real national news website. So I try to always collaborate with the news media and really conduct my experiments on actual news websites. So we also manipulated an existing native ad. So here you can see the three disclosure conditions. So the disclosure was either on top and in the middle. It was sponsored by Samsung, or just in the middle, or just on top of the native ad. So the brand was either 5 times or just 1 time mentioned in the article. So, and in the end, 290 visitors of the online news website were exposed to this ad and filled in the questionnaire. So these are the results for disclosure recognition. First, we were able to replicate the results of Wojcinski. So the disclosure in the middle of the ad was most often recognized. 22.8% of the readers recognized this disclosure, compared to just 11% when it was just on top. And combining both the top and the middle position disclosure, even more increased disclosure recognition, but this was not significantly different from just the middle position disclosure. And then, as expected, did this disclosure recognition also lead to increased ad recognition, so conceptual persuasion knowledge. But surprisingly, it did not increase readers' critical processing, so their attitudinal persuasion knowledge. And there was also no effect on readers' evaluations of the ad, advertiser, and news website. So there was no influence of disclosure recognition on the evaluations. And high brand presence, on the other hand, did not increase readers' ad recognition or conceptual persuasion knowledge. But it did have a negative influence on their attitudes toward the ad, the attitudes towards the brand, and the attitudes towards the news website. And mediation analysis showed that this was completely mediated by their increased critical processing. And furthermore, we did find one interaction effect in that this was for the news website credibility. So when brand presence was low and readers indicated that they had seen a disclosure, news credibility, website credibility was the highest. Whereas when you see that when brand presence was high, there was a large decrease in readers' evaluations of the news website. So when they both recognize the disclosure and there's high brand presence, they evaluate the news website most negatively. So based on these results, we can conclude that the brands and news websites can be transparent when it comes to adding a disclosure to the native ad, but they should disguise the brand in the text in such a way that it does not annoy the news readers. Furthermore, it was notably that we did not find any effect of disclosure recognition on readers' evaluations, as some other studies actually did find an effect. This might be because of the wordings of the disclosure, as we simply used sponsored by Samsung, whereas some studies really said in the disclosure, this brand tries to influence you. And of course that elicits a different response among the readers. And it seems that especially news website credibility is harmed when there's both a disclosure and the native ad is badly executed. So it's really important for the news media that readers are positive towards the native ad. There were, of course, also some limitations. We did not use eye tracking research. We'd love to do that in the future. So now I just had a self-reported disclosure recognition. I just asked them, did you see the disclosure sponsored by Samsung? And they indicated yes or no. Furthermore, we used Samsung, so that's a well-known brand. It would be interesting to test this, of course, also for less well-known brands. And we only measured the short-term impact on news websites. And it would be interesting to conduct some longitudinal research for the news websites as well. So that was this study in a nutshell. Thank you very much.